Hello, my name is Clay Clark and I am the CEO of Thrive15.com. And today we are joined with Deidre Detterman, the outstanding mompreneur who started a business in her home that started grossing $70,000 a month of revenue before she sold it. And she's going to be teaching us a little bit about the 15 most common mistakes that cause entrepreneurs to fail. And the idea is, if you learn these 15 causes of failure and you just cross it off your list and commit to not doing these things, your chances of success go way up, up, up. So again, as you're watching today's episode, it could be worth millions of dollars to you. It could be absolutely priceless, but you have to pay attention and take some notes. This could change your life. Remember, at Thrive15.com, we all believe that knowledge without application is 100% meaningless. As you're watching today's episode, take the time to ask yourself, what can you do to uniquely apply these principles in your own life and business? Otherwise, today's episode may just prove to be more meaningless than having a tauntaun on Tatooine.
While you not edutained,
All right, Deidre, we are here to talk today about the 15 most common reasons for failure.
Okay.
Not a fun subject, not really uplifting,
Right.
but it's one where if you go, well, note to self, that's probably something I would have done or am doing.
Yeah.
And some of these, I'll be happy to throw myself under the bus when I get to one of these that pertains to me. But we all, every day, wake up with a set of matches. And then we go, and we set ourselves on fire, and our businesses just burn because of stupid things that we do.
Yeah.
And in life, a lot of what we do, I mean, obesity, teen pregnancy, violence, divorce, anger, so many things are self-inflicted, you know, and so we're going to go through some of these things that are causing business failure because we have to look at ourselves and figure out, are we the root of these problems, and how can we kind of treat the root so we get better fruit? So here we go. Reason number one, character trait number one. And again, this is the kind of things that create dysfunction for the entrepreneur. Character trait number one for the dysfunctional entrepreneur, the 15 reasons for failure. The entrepreneur is an excuse maker. So, why aren't sales good? Well, you know, the economy. I have one guy that I used to work with who, no matter what time of the year it was, there was a reason for it based upon the calendar.
Yeah.
Well, it's, you know, before the holidays, people just don't buy.
Yeah.
After the holidays, people are not going to buy. The weather in February is just people stay in, you know. March, you know, it's just people are out. They are out there at the lake. They're going out with their kids. June, well, the summer's hot. People aren't coming in.
Yeah.
It's just that constant.
Yeah.
How have you been able to fight that trait to maybe, you know, as an entrepreneur, every once in a while I want to make an excuse.
Yeah.
How have you been able to combat that?
You know, I think you have to reinvent. So yes, there's excuses, and I think the path you may want to be going down may turn a course, and you have to reinvent what you're doing. So if sales aren't working, then why? Do a sale during that month. You know, is there a way that you can, you know, do something to combat the competitor at that time? But
you're saying, like, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I mean, you're basically saying I've got to look inward.
Inward. Yeah, and reinvent what you know, the business, the product, the course you're going.
If you're an entrepreneur, I'm telling you right now, no matter what the problem is, you have to look at yourself and say, there is my fault. Just this morning, I talked to a guy who he has an employee who is a troll, like a little troll in the office, and he is just being disruptive. He's in the staff meeting. He's talking back. I don't want to do that job. You know, he's just ridiculous. Then he comes up after showing up late to the staff meeting. Could you pay me for the meeting? You know, just crazy.
Right.
And I was explaining to him the reason why he works there is because you hired him. And I've hired people like that too, so you got to fire him. Yeah. Promote him, as Arthur Greeno would say, to customer status.
Yeah.
Instead of talking about him, let's talk about what we can do.
Right.
It's that whole no excuse thing.
No excuse. Yeah.
Second character trait that will lead to dysfunction for the entrepreneur and failure is the entrepreneur is a blamer. Well, different from excuse. Excuse is just saying no matter what the problem is, it's, you know, some other thing. But a blamer is like, you.
Yeah.
You camera guy, you sales guy, It is you, people.
Yeah.
How do you fight the thing about being a blamer? I mean, as a leader of a business, when you grew your company, how do you do that?
Well, and ultimately, if it's your business, I think it's you. It's you. You know, it's your people, it's your system, it's your environment that you've created. So I think you have to look at that.
So you don't blame?
No, I mean, I think everybody has a tendency to blame if certain things go wrong on people, but I think ultimately as the owner, it's you. So how do you solve the problem? How do you fix it?
Now, if we move on to character trait number 3, this is one that's tough to fix. The entrepreneur is dishonest. I'm going to give you an example of a dude. We'll call him Marvin. We'll just say it rhymes with Marvin. But Marvin would go around town and he'd be like, you know, I'm investing in these houses, and if you put in money, I can guarantee you a 40% return on the house. And you'd say, well, how could you guarantee a 40% return on a house? Well, it's easy. What I do, well, it's a very complicated system, Mr. Clark, but what I do is I'll put that money in. That money's then reinvested on the secondary market. The secondary market, we get more houses in bulk. We take that bulk revenue, we distribute it. I mean, it sounds like a Ponzi scheme. Like you take money, and then as soon as I put in money, you give that money to the guy who put in money before me, and you keep this going until you run out of investors. And he's like, nope.
Yeah.
Then I say, okay. And then you start saying, well, what do you do this weekend? And you hear he makes up a story about his weekend. And you start to see dishonesty in his stories, dishonesty in his presentation, dishonesty, and you realize that he's dishonest.
Yeah.
Once you've destroyed that honesty, it's hard to work with anyone, right?
Right.